morning, everyone. This is Dr. Moby with Lifestyle TV, and today we have great guest. Let's welcome Dawn Denton all the way from UK. Hey, Dawn.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good. So, Dawn, tell us about yourself.
So I think what my story starts in Africa. I grew up under an apartheid government in South Africa, and I think that shaped me in a lot of ways to now be kind of bringing people together. There are two concepts in Africa that have really shaped me. The one is called Ubuntu, and that is I am because we are. And the second one is it takes a village to raise a child. So for me, when people have a business, their business is their child, and you need a village to raise the child.
Okay, wow, what a story here. Yes, that is true. You need a village, and which means that you need a lot of things to go with it. So let's talk also about when did you start doing this?
So, it's interesting because I've kind of done a little bit of online stuff over the years, but in the last, I'd say 10 years, my focus has been on tourism. I've been a tour guide in Europe. And of course, with the pandemic, all tourism stopped. So we couldn't go out and do any tours. So what I decided to do was draw on what I'd learned kind of as a side hustle. I'd just been doing a bit of things on the side, and I brought it all together during the pandemic, and I created a membership community in the last 8 months. So it's brand new, but it's a membership community for entrepreneurs and self-employed people.
Okay, very nice, very nice. So tell me a little bit about, before COVID and after COVID, what has changed?
I think for me, I've realized I actually quite like being at home.
Oh. Yeah,
having traveled for many years, and much as travel is always going to be a part of me, and it's shaped me in many ways, I think I actually really enjoy being at home, and things that I've missed out on. I've just become a bit more aware of myself. And the other thing I think is it slowed me down a bit. I think I was rushing around like a crazy thing before the pandemic. And I think I've realized now that actually I can just take things a little bit slower, and things still happen. I don't have to have everything happen at 10,000, miles an hour. I can just take it slow. And I think that's the biggest lesson I've taken from the pandemic.
Yeah, I'm sure, you used to probably commute a lot too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think a lot of people I know, they were commuting before a lot, and then with pandemic, they're moved. A lot of my patients actually were on medications, and they were off now.
Yeah.
A lot of physical symptoms disappeared, and then because they don't have to rush, like you said, because life was at different pace, now it's at different pace. And it's amazing, that simple few things can make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
So also tell me a little bit how COVID is there in your area.
So not bad. We are pretty much open now. It's not compulsory to wear masks, but a lot of people are still wearing them because especially on a bus or, public transport, people feel just more comfortable wearing something. The population is about 80% vaccinated, double vaccinated. So I think things will start opening up a little bit more, and we just, fingers crossed that the winter is going to treat us well, because I think we're all preparing for quite a scary winter if the pandemic kind of, emerges again.
That would be, but make sure, I hope everybody gets flu shot too. And, so because I have a feeling now, with the last year, flu was totally non-existent, because we were doing all that mandates, and now with everybody kind of back to normal routine, I think there is a good chance that we'll see a spike in flu this year as compared to last year. So, but I hope, people still practice some, common sense, washing hands and staying away. I
Yeah,
hope we don't
exactly.
forget about that, right?
Yeah.
So also tell me a little bit about, let's say when somebody wants to do career counseling or your services, how should they contact you? I know we have your website here. So.
Yeah, so what I think really works well and has worked for us quite well over the last 8 months is that if anyone's interested in finding out what we do, what we have is we do a one-to-one session where we just chat to you about where you are. There
Mhm,
are a lot of people who have left corporate over the pandemic and don't know what to do with themselves. They have an idea, and that's our three pillars: our idea, inspiration, and impact. So you've got an idea and you think, I don't know what to do with it.
mhm,
I don't have the confidence to take it forward. So we meet for a one-to-one and we have a chat about where you are and what you do. And then we explain to you what our club is like and what you can get out of our club. And I think that's where people could start is just by getting in touch with us through the website. But yeah, it's about taking an idea and moving it to a stage of having an impact. And how we do that is we have to be inspired by our own ideas, but we also need to inspire others. That's how
mhm,
we grow. And so the club is something that we're quite passionate about. It's a group of people who have made who might have some ideas. Maybe they've got a business and want to take it in a new direction. That's the other thing. We've got some very successful members who really just want to take things in another direction. They might be, we've got a fashion designer who wants to write a book. So she's going through our book program. We've
mhm,
got people who are retailers who want to, do something completely different. So it's a nice mix of people.
mhm. And then, so they basically you are doing the content college club, so people can bounce back and forth their ideas, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we have a mastermind session once a month where they can meet with like-minded people and come up with different concepts. Because, I love the idea of a mastermind. You have
Mm-hmm.
so the one thing about going into business, it's a lack of confidence, and we don't really know how to go about it. And we mull these ideas in our head for so long. And a mastermind is basically bringing minds together to create the third mind, or the mind outside of the community, the collective, which comes up with lots of new ideas and inspiration. So we have that every month. We have an inspirational interview every month, and we also do a masterclass every month. And then we've got other courses people can participate in. They can write a book if they want to learn how to write a nonfiction book, how to SEO their websites, how to set up a website, so
Mm-hmm.
how to build a business. And every month has a theme. So you can see there we've got money and being heard and connection, all different themes. Every month we have another theme. So next month is energy, which is very exciting as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And here we are seeing these are your modules, right?
So those are our month themes. So we
Oh
started
man.
in January with confidence, and February was connection, and
Oh.
so this month is being heard. So how do you when you're in business, how do you get yourself heard? And we had an inspirational interview with Lauren Sarno, who spoke about coming as your whole self.
Mm-hmm.
We tend to have different personas naturally for different environments, but when you consider your whole self and what you can bring to business as your whole self, then yeah, I think we can be more successful. So that's our theme for this month. And then next month it's energy. And then we've
Yeah.
got money in November. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And so do they represent anything in particular, or how did you have these like why energy now and not in you?
I think we kind of looked at when we started business and how we felt about it, but also and we've looked at what other people struggle with, because that's a big thing when you're working on your own. Who do you turn to? Where do you get your inspiration from? And so we just felt that these were the things that small businesses and people who are starting out struggle with. I mean, how do you get people to hear you? How do you maintain your energy? And because it's difficult, you get knocked back many times when you're in business, and you also struggle with looking after yourself, your own health, because we spend too much time at the computer, or exercise becomes the second thing that we worry about in the day, or the last thing at the bottom of the list. So there's different things that come up for a small business that we felt were quite important, actually, when you work for yourself. So these are our themes.
Okay, great. So these themes, so when these are more for motivation or giving ideas, or basically setting up the theme for talking more, elaborate more points, right?
Yeah. So the theme, like being heard, we've got a masterclass on this coming week, which is about intent. So
Mm-hmm.
that's about how do you make people hear you? Well, you have an intention. You show up in a certain way. You might want, your intent might be to have confidence, or to be playful, or to be inspiring. But that's how people are going to hear you, when you have the right intent for the right environment. So the masterclass will be in the theme, but we'll cover something that is actionable for a small business owner to take away that month, and kind of put into practice in their own lives and in their own business.
Mm-hmm. And for any economy, small business and medium-sized business, they are the bulk. They are really push the economy, and for any success, large businesses play a role too. But I think these are the everyday people who believe they could do, really a great business or learn a lot and start. So also tell me, if somebody wants to do that, some of the initial hurdles, we are a small business myself, we started. So I think some I can relate that some people might find it that they will be unsuccessful, so they have never done this before in their life. And so they're worried that they will set up for a, kind of failure here.
Yeah.
And second is they have also, so do you do some of these kind of different areas advice, or are there general principles, of course, apply to any of them?
Yes, I think what is so special about is the Content College is that it's the community. So the village that raises the child.
That's true.
The community comes together and rallies around people, and we all come from a different perspective, and we all have different skills. So when we come together as a community and someone says, I don't know what to do in this instance, because, like, for example, if I'm at home
Mhm.
and I have a question about what I should do in my business, I'm also really quite specific. There's no such thing as a right or a wrong decision. It's about the consequence.
Mhm.
So I will pace up and down the hallway and I'll think, what do I do? What do I do? What's the best option? But when you have someone to turn to and you have a whole community of people that give you support and say, well, if you want to run a workshop, do you want to try it with us? Or I've done this and this hasn't worked. So I think by bringing the like-minded people together, it creates the energy, and that's where the magic happens.
Mhm.
So for us, I think the community is our focus point,
Mhm.
and the learning comes from within the tribe, within the community.
Mhm. And that's true. And I'm sure, some would be at more advanced level than the others, and they could relate and they could help. So maybe I was feeling like this when I was at your level, but now, so I think that means, so how long you've been doing this? And so,
So we only really started. We launched our program in January, but
mhm.
I think the value has been in the networking that I've done for many, many years. I think people sometimes forget the importance and the value of connection and network,
Mhm.
because we all have a network, and we all bring into every relationship and engagement, we bring network together.
Mhm.
And I think that's what's helped me, is bringing in communities and connections from my previous lives, my previous roles. And most of our members are people who are maybe have lost their job during the pandemic, and
Mhm.
they've had to be raised and lifted up, because it's a very scary thing when you suddenly lose your job and your income, and you now have to start from scratch. So for a lot of people, they're bringing skills from other workplaces, but now they need to kind of hone them in and adapt them to something brand new. So yes, I think that's important for me, is network, bringing a network together and bringing people together.
Mm. What have you seen so far between, different sexes? Is it more male now trying to do, or is it more female, or it doesn't matter?
Yeah, so it's interesting in business. You people are always told to focus in on their ideal customer. Find your ideal customer,
Hmm.
and our ideal customer was female. And interestingly enough, most of our members have turned out to be female. We don't have many males at the moment, but I have. I don't know if this is a reflection of society. I think is that maybe the females are the ones that are more prepared to explore new options at the moment. I think some of the male community are established where they want to be, and they
Hmm.
might not be exploring new options. I also think if they're in a traditional family, sometimes the male tends to be the breadwinner, and I think that's sometimes the struggles for breaking out and wanting to do your own thing.
Hmm. Yeah, that is very interesting that you're seeing a lot more females trying to learn and do things. But I can tell you, in my office also 90% we have females. So, and I feel that they do a better job in actually being employed or at least working on. There's more. Unfortunately, every time I have a lot of a few males, not a lot, but few males, this tend to wander around everything else but the job. So,
Yeah, I think it's an interesting time, really, and I think um, because a lot of what we do at the Content College is also about sharing and talking and expressing. And I don't always know if men are that comfortable doing that. And I don't like to, divide the genders because we're all human after all. But I do think that women find a little bit easier to share with other people, maybe, and talk about what's upsetting them and, how they can overcome struggles. I'm not sure that men are always as comfortable in those environments.
yeah, and I think if they have interest and they stay focused, but somehow they tend to lose concentration and things. Their focus is lost. They're trying to explore 10 other things, and problem is if you stay even in that area, for you will reach somewhere. So you have to be a little patient. I think that's where I see some of the problem. And the other thing I would like to ask you is also, what's the difference between now, are you finding between people who are very young versus, different age groups?
So it's interesting you say that. I think it's also older. We've got most of our members are between the ages of 30 and I'd say 60. Because I don't know, I'm not sure why that is. I think there might be an element of I don't know, maybe they're exploring something new. Maybe they've decided, they've come to a point in their lives where they've decided that now they want to do something for themselves,
Hmm.
and maybe they want to explore new options. So yes, our community is definitely slightly older, and that's also surprised me. I thought young people would be coming out of university and be very keen to go and explore and start a new business, but I'm not sure that they're at that place yet. Maybe they feel that they need to explore the world in a different way before they break out on their own and gain some skills and expertise and experience.
Yeah, I think that is the reason. You're absolutely right. I have also, seen, I have very young population too in my office, and we see if you ask them anything, that they don't know. They have so many pathways right now that they don't know which one to go. So
Well,
yeah.
I'm very pleased I'm not young anymore in this world. I would find it very difficult to make decisions if I was in my early 20s now.
So it'll be like, if we have multiple channels on TV and now we have 500 channels, or and then you don't know which one to watch, and then would you watch anything? Not really. So I think that same advice is for career right now. They have so many things going and they don't know what to do, and I tell them, focus on one thing. It doesn't matter you like it or not. but you need to learn it first.
Yeah.
And you never know in life, you might think that you are good at one, but actually you could be best in the other. So, so I see this a very common problem. That's why I wanted to ask you. I thought it was only me seeing that, but
It's not just you, no.
yeah. And the other interesting thing is, older folks, which myself too, we tend to do now. They are actually doing a lot of work. Those age groups have disappeared. Especially, I think even in US, look at our president is the oldest ever. So right, so which is it's a great thing, And you're saying that you're also seeing some of those older folks trying to do things and stay. This is very interesting fact, but the time has changed right now, and we are seeing a lot more people at different age groups still working, and so the retirement age, so-called traditional, has really gone away, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a great thing. I feel young.
But also what I think is really important is that, and so my parents' generation and my grandparents' generation, you did one job. You finished school at 16 and you did the same job until the day you retired. And if there
Yeah.
was a gap in your CV, there was something wrong. Like, what did you do that was wrong? Now, people really are inspired by when you put a CV forward and you've done loads of different jobs and you've taken gaps to go traveling, to explore. That's what makes you a more whole human to be able to participate in the modern world. And I think that's incredibly valuable, taking those skills and applying them to business, whatever they are and wherever you come from.
And that is so true. That so things have really changed, and so I think absolutely right. Those days are gone when we used to have only one job. And so I think also with that in mind, whatever you do, make sure take care of your health and well-being, and be happy what you do. So tell me, how do you keep yourself in that spirit?
So I decided during just after the pandemic here in the UK, when about after our second wave, there was a free tennis series. We could go and play tennis again, and I hadn't played tennis since I was young, so it was kind of return to tennis. And I found my love of tennis again. So I play tennis. I have a wonderful dog that I walk about 5 kilometers every day. So
Mm,
that's been really good for me. And I
mhm,
think the pandemic has also taught me to be a bit more structured with my eating habits at home, because it's easy to sit and just eat rubbish when you're at home all the time and you can't go out. And I've been very conscious of eating differently and putting a kind of a routine in place really for my eating. And it's been a healthy time for me, I must say. I feel quite invigorated by the last 18 months for my own body, and feeling a bit more energy. Even though we age, and I've had a 50th birthday, which has really not been great for me. I haven't really enjoyed that concept of being 50, but I feel I'm healthier than I've been for a long time.
Okay, great. That is very interesting that people are trying to also focus on their health with COVID, and I think they should be, because COVID has really proven once again that everything else is on one side, and what matters most is your health. Because people who have unfortunately have complications, those one who didn't have really good health. So those are really important things. Any final thoughts and messages you would like to have? And it was so much fun talking to you.
I'd like to return back to those two African concepts that I think are incredibly valuable. So the concept of Ubuntu is the concept of I am because we are, we can't exist on our own. And then finally, it takes a village to raise a child. Those are the two African concepts that have established my life and have formed the foundation of the Content College, which is growing daily and which I think I'm very proud of. My co-creator and owner, Michelle Cheen, and I have done a lot of work on this, and our members are thriving, and it's just wonderful to see.
Mhm. And this is Michelle, right?
Yes. Yeah. So Michelle's on the website with me. Yes.
Yeah, so Michelle is, and this
There
is,
she is.
here you are. Okay, well, and this is where people can contact, and so I'm going to put right now here. You can email, you can call, or you can, of course, visit. So make sure you do check her out and take control of your own future by learning and also helping yourself and everyone else. With that in mind, thank you for Dawn. It was pleasure, and you take care.
Thank you so much for chatting.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you.